I'm going to try to explain to you why I think Matthew Perry was murdered. It has everything to do with the Holocaust. That's many things coming next year, possibly shortly after the 2024 eclipse, whether the Holocaust comes in April, the month of Av in August, or 10 years later at the next total solar eclipse. It could happen next year or in 2044. But anyway, if you connect it, I drew a picture here. You see two circles, one on the left, one on the right, and I tried to pick places that are close together, locations like cities, towns, close together, about 15, 20 miles apart. On the right, it says Hillham, Hamas. Okay, Hamas, that doesn't have anything to do with Hillham. It just both started with H. Then on the left side says Sparta, Jews. Okay, and then above that it says Kibbutz Be'eri. So if you go to the Kibbutz Be'eri, where Hamas attacked, and you see the little arrows going from right to left, the little red arrows from Hillham to Sparta. Be'eri means covenant people. So Hamas, a proxy of Iran, attacked covenant people at this kibbutz called Be'eri, but in between is a kibbutz called Friends on a hill, and that's called Kibbutz Re'im. So, and I say that's the United States, although there is a real Kibbutz Re'im between Kibbutz Be'eri and Gaza in the land. I'm trying to get a parallel, spiritual type parallel here. So if you dig with what I'm about to show you in the videos about the number 239 and 923 and the Long Kiss Goodnight movie and some other things that I mentioned, you'll see that Iran wants to destroy the Friends of Israel, represented by that upside down U called Hill of Friends right there, which that's Kibbutz Re'im. So when they attacked the covenant people at Be'eri, the Re'im people, which are their neighbors, just a mile or two away, could not help them. And I think what Iran is saying here is that you can pray 21 days, your Daniel angel could pray 21 days, and that angel is not going to help you because Israel, because we're going to destroy you. How they say it, from the river to the sea or something like that. We're going to destroy you. But see, in the process, they have to take out the Friends on a hill. The Friends on a hill did not help this October 7th attack by Hamas. The United States Friends are not going to help fight against Iran in the future because they're going to be hurt or taken out, so that the United States cannot defend Israel, so that Iran can destroy covenant people Israel. See, so there's a parallel here, and it's kind of hard for me to explain it. So when you look at the video from Friends, I will be there for you. I think Iran is mocking God by saying you can pray 21 days all you want, because see, Perry died 21 days after the attack. So you can pray 21 days. It's not going to do you any good. We will destroy the covenant people. And the USA Friends won't be able to stop us because of possible EMP attack or a possible nuclear attack or something. We don't know for sure what's coming. But Mark Biltz, in his teaching on YouTube called Defeating Amalek, I encourage you to watch that. There's 3 teachings on it, 3 or 4, I think, 2 or 3 hours. He connects everything to High Holy Days and this eclipse that's coming next year. So I'm just saying, did they know in 1994 when they did the theme song for Friends that Matthew Perry would die by drowning? And I think they did. And he didn't know that. I mean, he was spitting out the water. He's just doing what they said because it's funny. But basically what they're saying, your friends will not be there for you, Israel, because we're going to take them out. I think Iran is mocking God. Hopefully you can get some of that information. If you just dig in each point I make in these videos, I think you'll come to the same conclusion. Thank you for listening. Bye. Yahweh uses the sun and moon as signs. He said there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars for seasons. Seasons is Moed. And the seven feasts of God are all Moeds to speak to his people. So if you're watching, you know when the Moeds are. The next big one we're going to talk about is that when the eclipse happens in April 8th, 2024. This eclipse happens, it's on a Moed. So this is a significant day. The first of Aviv, okay? The April 8th, 2024 total solar eclipse lasts about 1 hour. It enters over the land of Texas at 2:27 Eastern Time. It exits over the land of Maine at 3:35 Eastern Time. And it lasts about an hour. And in Revelation it says, in 1 hour, judgment comes to Babylon. Okay? So I'm relating this solar eclipse possibly to judgment. Okay? Now this is a teaching highly edited by Mark Biltz because he understands eclipses and how they relate to God's people.
Solar eclipses always refer to the nations, judgment on a nation. A lunar eclipse always refers to judgment toward Israel. This is a solar eclipse, and it is the very first total solar eclipse exclusively to the United States since before the nation's founding in 1776. The one that happened in 2017 was the one and only in our history total solar eclipse that only hit the United States. It didn't hit Mexico, it didn't hit Canada. We were the only country. What that means, God put a target on our nation. We're going to be judged. Now, watch this. April 8th of 2024, this next spring, is the 9th solar eclipse to go over America. Now, let's go back and also realize April 8th is Nisan 1, which is very significant. So let's look at patterns. The two solar eclipses that happened in the 1700s, what was going on at that time? The Revolutionary War. The three solar eclipses that happened in the 1800s, what was going on? The American Civil War. During the 70s, what was going on? The Vietnam War. Okay, so August 21st, 2017, which is exactly 7 years before this one in April, will there be war? That's been the pattern. But the next one isn't until 2044, the next solar eclipse. So I really believe that we're headed for interesting times because this is the 9th eclipse, and 9 is the last of the single digits, and thus marks the end. It's significant of the conclusion of a matter. It's the number of finality or judgment. So here we are in Nisan. The new moon marks the first of Nisan. I have 2024 because this year lines up exactly like the biblical calendar. So Daniel, if it ended on the 24th, it begins on the 3rd of Nisan.
He prayed
so
for 21 days.
There is no Passover. The temple's destroyed. He's over in Babylon. But he's fasting and praying during that time. Well, it so happens this next April, there's a total solar eclipse I'm telling you about on the 1st of Nisan. On the 3rd, the angel appears, or he doesn't appear. There's an angel that's doing battle every day against the king of Persia for 3 whole weeks. And of course, this is going to be Passover this next year, which is when this comet appears. And then again, the angel is battling in Iran for 3 whole weeks. He finally appears to him and he says, look right here, 12 through 14. He said to me, don't fear, Daniel. From the very first day that you set your heart to understand and humble yourself before God, your words were heard. And I've come because of your words. But look what it says. The prince of the kingdom of Iran withstood me these 21 days. And then look at this. He says, I was left over there beside the kings of Persia. Now I'm come to make you understand what will befall your people in the last days. That vision that he received was for us.
Daniel 10,
Okay?
14.
And it happened in Nisan. And he says, now I have to go back and continue to fight the prince of Persia. Yeshua says, I'm going to return. When does he return? When it's time to fight with the prince of Persia. Do you catch that? This is the Messiah who says, when I return, I'm going to return. This is talking about the second coming. And he's going to fight with Amalek. Amalek is Persia. And he says, I'll have war with Amalek from generation to generation. I believe this is the terminal generation when Amalek will be defeated. And it's going to start next year.
That's based on really deep study. It's on the internet, but it is Iran, okay? Yes, today. Something's going to happen. He believes something's going to happen in April next year associated with the sign of Jonah. That second total solar eclipse makes an X over the United States, and X marks the spot of judgment. So whether it is in April or whether it's later in the year, maybe during the month of Av, or whether it's in the next solar eclipse in 2044, I don't know. But I have a feeling it's going to be next year that the Lord's going to come back and deal with Iran, or 2044, one of the two, okay? Now we're going to try to keep figuring this out. Do evil people control the media and Hollywood? Do they reveal their agenda sometimes in the movies and stuff? Do they say, you friends, Christians of Israel, are not saved by your God in 21 days? What did Daniel do? He prayed for 21 days against Iran and that the spirit of Iran. And 21 days. So is it possible that Iran is saying, you can pray all you want because your God is not going to save you Christians, okay? And now I want to connect it to what just happened. Possibly an atomic bomb. You're going to see a video here in just a second where they use the numbers, not 239. And sometimes the PTB try to hide it a little bit by saying 923. They do it both ways. But just pay attention in these cartoons we're going to watch, in these movies clips we're going to watch, that the number 239 is the atomic number for uranium, plutonium, atomic bomb. The Simpsons cartoon weight number is on the scales. He doesn't weigh 239 pounds. In the David Bowie movie, it says on 923, which is the reverse of 239, you will be mine. In the Evan Almighty movie, the reporter says tomorrow this place will be destroyed. And that's when he built this ark in Washington, D.C., and he's a congressman, and everybody thinks he's crazy, and he grows his hair real long, and the animals start coming to the ark, and the ark goes through New York City or D.C. and stops right in front of the Capitol building. Okay, and the reporter is saying tomorrow destruction will come. And then I'm going to show you the Friends sitcom that aired on TV for the first time on 9/23 in 1994. Okay, it's really interesting. Who killed Matthew Perry? The answer has to do with God's calendar. God's calendar. See? So that's how I'm able to figure it out. Couldn't just any bad pastor figure that out? If you don't understand God's calendar, I'd say no. You can't figure it out. Okay? You got to know God's calendar.
But it was at the Nova Festival, held on farmland near the Kibbutz of Re'im, where perhaps the most shocking violence unfolded. It is possible the Hamas terrorists stumbled across the event, given its location was a secret and only unveiled to attendees at the last minute. The 3,000...
Okay, Joseph Deman said there was an abomination that after, when we were cut off in 2020 by the virus, when you couldn't go into the synagogue to pray in your church and offer a sacrifice, you count 1,290 days. He said an abomination would be set up in Israel. So at this festival where Hamas went in and killed people, look, do you see there? Is that an abomination to God? A Buddha statue is that's a sculpture made when this person is supposed to be enlightened. And where do we get our knowledge, wisdom? We get it from the Lord. We don't get it from Buddha. So that is an abomination to God. So Joseph was over there looking for something that would be an abomination to God. And this is what he found. It was at that festival where they were attacked. And so if you count, Daniel says 1,290 days from the time you were cut off, that's 2020, it falls exactly on the day of this massacre.
Strong crowd had been dancing all night, but early on Saturday, Hamas paragliders descended on the site, with video appearing to capture the moment. At around 6:30 a.m., explosions and gunfire cut through the pounding music. The crowd took cover, but it was not long before jihadists arrived at the site.
And they killed all these people. Okay, so is Iran saying that Daniel 10 is not gonna, that you're not gonna be saved by God? You can pray 21 days all you want, you're not gonna be saved by God. And I'm relating this to what happened in Israel on October 7th. They were not saved. These covenant Jews and Kibbutz Be'eri were not saved. They were killed. And the kibbutz near them, called Friends, Hill of Friends, they did not save them. They could have saved them, but they didn't. And so I think Iran is saying, your friends are not going to save you, Israel. And the reason that I think Iran is saying that is because they're going to kill Israel's friends, okay? Is Iran saying that God did not help Matthew Perry or the Jews? Did Iran kill Matthew Perry? I think Iran is mocking God by saying Daniel prayed 21 days. Why? There's the picture of Friends sitcom people. They're shaped in the form of a pyramid or a hill. If you look at it, they could have been sitting side by side, but no, it's like a pyramid or a hill. Did they plan the death of Matthew Perry by drowning when this sitcom aired in 1994? This plan, so they didn't stumble upon this kibbutz in Israel. They knew exactly what they were doing. What's Matthew Perry doing? He's trying not to drown. Okay, I'm going to do that again. He's trying not to drown. Did they tell him to spit the water out of his mouth like that?
No one told you life was gonna be this way.
So if you just, I just think there are too many coincidences for you just to say this doesn't mean anything. You know, this Friends sitcom and this Hill of France, which was next to the kibbutz that got raided and people, covenant people were killed, is Iran saying your friends are not going to help you because we're going to take out your friends in America. So if you look at those other things I said about 239, let me play that. And I said something would happen in 2020. Okay, let me go back to that. I'll play that one. Oh. Here he is. I'll play this one again. Are they saying in 21 days, because Matthew Perry died 21 days after the attack. Did you hear that? So when I read that he died 21 days after, I see they're mocking God. And say, I think they have a plan how to take out the friends of the covenant people, Israel. Watch this. 239.
In 9 hours and 23 minutes, you'll be mine. In 9 hours and 23 minutes, you'll be mine.
239, big letters. He doesn't weigh 239 pounds. This is the ark that they built. This is a movie called Long Kiss Goodnight. They say an attack on America worse than 9/11.
In what city officials are describing as the worst act of destruction since the World Trade Center bombing. It's the worst act of destruction since the World Trade Center bombing. It's the worst act of destruction since the World Trade
That's
Center
1989. When did the World Trade Center happen?
People have jammed the streets.
2001.
In this city's history.
So they're going to hit New York City, Chicago, D.C., something else. I'll play that one more time. So these are things they've put in movies and stuff, and it may be true, it may not be, but it just seems like too many coincidences. They're going to take out the friends, so the friends of Israel cannot save them when Iran attacks Israel in a bigger way than they are right now.
In 9 hours and 23 minutes, you'll be mine. In 9 hours and 23 minutes, you'll be mine.
Plutonium, uranium. The reporter says on tomorrow, 9/23, destruction comes. These movies were made in 1989, 1996, before the World Trade Center was hit, destroyed.
In what city officials are describing as the worst act of destruction since the World Trade Center bombing. It's the worst act of destruction since the World Trade Center bombing. It's the worst act of destruction since the World Trade Center bombing. Hundreds of thousands of people have jammed the streets. The largest evacuation in this city's history.
Okay, basically, Mark Biltz is saying this fight with Iran is next year. He's connecting it to High Holy Days and war. Okay, and he gave you patterns of the Revolutionary, the Civil War, and the Vietnam War. And he's saying this is what's coming. He could be right or wrong. We don't know, but I just find it very interesting. Okay, so you can just take it what it's worth about the sitcom and Matthew Perry. I think he was murdered. Okay, we stopped the recording. That's it.